Hey guys, Lex the Gray here. This is actually not a episode of The Lone Wolf, but a workshop video. I haven't really done these in a while. I wanted to get some things on paper here while you guys observe, and that helps me lay out some ideas for the future. Now, first off, the top, the starting topic of this video will be the theme of an approach to my usual videos as far as the format. So format, theme, approach. There's several vague words I can assign. It's mainly about how I've been doing the lone wolf as an example. I've been trying to do this episodic approach where we follow we follow Basil as he marches across this land, this vague land of the artist formerly known as Exeter, and we made our way to the watchtower, and now we're about to go save or go to a boat north of the watchtower on the sea somewhere. So my usual approach is what you just saw, the little hex map that has been my the world map for the Lone Wolf campaign. And this is my character sheet that is based on the Maze Rats game. Maze Rats is still my personal favorite, but because it's very, very rules light, as rightfully it should be, it allows for customization. And I have digitally, not printed because I change it quite often, a maze hack, or I've been calling it my maze hack, that I often reference and use in my campaign. I've been thinking a lot lately about my approach to these kind of videos, these episode videos that cover a chapter in Basil's story, not necessarily an entire arc, but like a mini quest. He does something or part of a quest. Here's the idea I want to try moving forward, or at least in the next video, and perhaps I might get some opinions about it following following the comments below. So I usually, like I said, my episodes are typically, I'm very inconsistent at times, but it's usually there is a start. You have some there's sometimes action, there's dialogue, there's surprise, perhaps a surprise here and there, not too much on the surprise factor, but I think I'm trying that balance between action and dialogue, and what I've been promising myself in the Lone Wolf campaign was to make this light on the role play. Trying not to focus too much on the dialogue and what's happening around in the environment and the world, and focusing more on just pushing Basil through the story, through the setting, and letting the dice kind of roll, asking the Oracle a lot of questions, using the mechanics of my maze hag, stepping away from taking notes all the time and just focusing on having fun. I will forget things, I will mess things up, but at this point, it's like that's okay. That really is okay. Each episode can be seen as its own little story, and it does continue and does it does come off of something and it continues on after that, like a show. But much like television shows, there's going to be inconsistency, and that is a quirk of mine that I feel like perhaps I should roll with. Here's what I'm saying. Instead of having like this method of a chapter and an arc, which essentially would be a quest in RPG terms, the episodes I would try to do would sometimes have to start here and might end here because we have this very big climb, and then it would end the following episode would be this portion right here. But, depending on the Oracle, perhaps there's a little twist and it gets thrown off onto a tangent, and this will be another episode. So, because it's tough for me to not role play. Uh, it's tough for how should I say this? It's tough for me at times to say that I will not role play too often, but I have a tendency. There will be times I do. Like I'll talk through the perspective of the characters, whether or not I'm killing an accent or trying or just saying what they are speaking of. Instead of doing all that, which is totally fine, which I will, of course, role play at times. But the role play, I don't want my videos to be entirely about the role play. This is, an RPG focused channel, but it's for me, it's a blend of the dice rolling, the mechanics of the game, and pushing the character through this adventure. It doesn't have to be always about the dialogue, what every single word is spoken of, and understanding the entire world. I don't want to build too much because it's just me. I don't have a lot of time outside of work, which seems pretty surprising because I'm making videos every day, but I'm I like to think I'm good at organizing my time to focus on these videos, which have a tendency to be up to an hour, uh, but usually a minimum of a half an hour. But because I do these videos on almost a daily basis, throughout my time, day at work or coming home, I think about what I want to do for Basil, for whatever campaign or episode I'm working on, for you guys. So there has been many videos on my channel where I do these solo quests. And it's just a random character. It's a nobody. It's just some dude who is just a random adventurer. I may use maze rats or other systems, and they do this whole little arc within 1 hour. This is it's an isolated story. It's an isolated adventure. The character does something. I usually like to do things very simple. It's a bandit camp or a rescue or retrieving, something like that, exploration. But with the lone wolf, its entire campaign. I'm trying to make it into an entire campaign like Darkane. Darkane is one of my few completed campaigns because like Misfortune, I kind of completed, but I continued it and I didn't finish it. I tried to sequel it and it didn't exactly go out as planned. Now, with these one shots that are really fun to do, it's wasted. I have this character that I just strictly create for these one shots that gave me an idea after watching some of my older videos, and to be honest, other ones on YouTube also, one shots. And one shots can last several episodes, depending on how quick you want to get the character through the doorway and then defeat the boss or retrieve the magical stone or whatever you want to do. What if I took Basil and did each episode with the same character Basil as a one shot? Not necessarily exploring a hex, not necessarily going hex to hex, which is something I'm very intrigued to keep trying. Hex exploration is not my forte. I didn't grow up playing RPGs. I'm very new to RPGs, and I've made that relevant on this channel many thousands of times since last year. And still a young channel by the content wise, not necessarily when starting this channel, but RPGs in general. Hex exploration with Basil, and I've tried it before, but and I stepped away from it at times in other videos, but it's enjoyable. It really is. But it's the magnitude of information to balance on my shoulders when I just want to get Basil through something, trying to keep things consistent. Because if I start tr backtracking to other hexes I've been through, it's like, oh shoot, what did I do there? I don't do notes. I do not take thorough notes that I for this campaign specifically that I've used to do for thorough notes. If you watch my earlier videos, my other campaign or other one shots, I would take not an abundance amount of notes, but a good amount of notes just for me to remember. Now, what I have been using is AI. I use a program for Mac called Vibe, which uses Google or whatever API method of translation or transcribing, I should say, transcribing the audio, and then it details everything in one giant block of text. I carry it over into Google or GPT, And with my custom gem or GPT, it outlines what happens from start to end with a follow-up for the next episode. I was doing that for Darkane practically every episode. It worked really damn well. I was taking notes for Darkane, I think, and for some portion of the adventure, but then I turned the notes. I'm like, I'm gonna do more tabletop, like not as much note taking, walking around the room talking to you guys, and then rolling dice when I have to. I liked it. I really, really enjoyed it when I stepped away from too much journaling and actually focused on just playing the game, rolling the dice, and just imagining in my head what was happening to the character. So this little idea here, completely nothing new, is just taking Basil, taking the set character PC, the player character, putting him into this just little one shot that happens within whatever fictional world that Basil is in, but it's always an isolated event. He has to go save a kidnapped has to save the king's kidnapped child from an evil overlord that wants to use the child as ransom for power. Okay, we go through the gate, we go through the bureaucracy first, we get the information we need, we follow some clues and tips and hint, we reach the evil overlord's castle, we fight their pet dragon, we defeat a bunch of minions, and the overlord fight is right about here. We defeat him, he's dead. We find the child, he's held up in a cell somewhere. We rescue him. We return the child back to the king. We get praise for our heroism, heroic deed, and we level up the character Basil for the next episode. In the next episode, rinse and repeat. Basil has to find he finds a bulletin about a missing rare item, and the owner wants to pay a high reward for the missing item. So we travel through where perhaps this item might be located through some tips and some follow rumors. We get to a forest. There's a bandit camp. We stop the bandits. We get the item. We leave. Episode done. And I think all of stuff like that, as vague as they are, they're still fun to do. And that's the purpose of my videos. It's just to have fun. I'm not looking for a complex Shakespearean storyline. I'm looking to take my character from point A to point B in this arc, in this method of a one shot, but doing one shot per episode for one character. And that continues a lone wolf because the lone wolf is such a very straightforward title. It can be for anything. The lone wolf is the one character. I don't have a party of four like I did in Darkane. This is the lone wolf. I'm focusing on one character, this badass fighter who is going to be doing this missions, whether it's for someone or for himself, or as for a job, while continuing his chaotic good approach to just do these quests. And each time he does these quests, he levels up. He gets the rescues the princess and to the next castle. The princess is in another castle. That metaphorically that could mean that the next episode is in another castle. So I think this is an approach I can try. But what does that mean for the hex map? I'm not going to get rid of it. I still have it. But do I need it? Because if we're on a hex map, as you know, my last, 5 episodes or so were mostly on focus on this paper, on this hex map. And I tried to detail, theater of the mind approach to this campaign. Well, I have a tendency to I want to visualize it more. I want to see where Basil is placed on a map. So what I'm thinking, and again, I've done these for my one shots. For my one shots, I do have figures. I do have some props like trees and ground and crates and chairs and tables. I don't have a huge collection. And as you can see, I do have a tendency to buy some accessories from time to time. But that's besides the point. The point is that I prefer the tabletop approach with the visualization of a battle map. And I have those flippable book battle maps with there's different themes. Like for example, let's see, the low key battle maps, the giant book of battle maps, and these things have this specific one is huge. I mentioned in my next video for uh, the lone wolf that it was going to take place in the ocean somewhere on a boat. So this has a boat. So this certain page right here has a boat. There's this boat right here. So I could use this, but could a whole episode be on this on the top level, the top deck of the boat? Perhaps. It really depends on the speed of my role playing, my solo approach to it, like talking about the mechanics and trying to roll dice, asking the Oracle, is there anybody on the deck right now? What happens if I get down here? Stuff like that. Is there weather a factor? Is the captain here? Is the dock the ship docked anywhere? Are we out in sea? Why am I out there? How did I get out there? Because then we have to talk about, oh, I have to get through the harbor and pay to get on the ship or sneak on the ship, take a paddle boat or some other small boat and get sneak up on this if it is a pirate ship. So stuff like that can last an hour. And I've done past videos with the one shots where they are just a one shot with one random disposable character who I don't get to level up because I toss them out in the garbage, and I hate that. So there's been a lot of characters I got rid of, and some I haven't even seen the light of day for you guys to watch. So I want to take Basil moving forward for the Lone Wolf and put him into these little episodic, like a TV show. It's just this kind of isolated event. It's not a main quest. It's just these isolated quests. However, there's going to be a transition. We are still on essentially the Damaris quest. We're looking for Damaris. There will be some consistent factors in this kind of approach. There's the creed, there's the factions. We will have some elements of the world that I've been building, like the creed, the Reds, stuff like that. They will pop in every so often. So the creed can be a reoccurring villain, like the Frieza of the show. That means that in the next episode, I have to conclude, or in the next couple, I have to conclude the Damaris quest, looking for her, what happened to her, where is she? We know she's on a boat based on a vision we had. That way, when I conclude that quest, I can rightfully level up. Uh, right, I say rightfully because I don't regret, but I did level up Basil in the last episode. I felt like he's done some, adventuring. He's defeated some villains. He relatively simple. Maybe I was too easy on him, but last episode we went to the Watchtower. We defeated the boss and the boss's boss, and we achieved some, the Golden Key, the Magic Amulet, the Creed Ledger. All this stuff is great for the next episode. So episode six, the Creed Ledger can lead to the boat, and maybe the Creed kidnapped. There's an idea. The Creed kidnapped. What's her name? Damaris for some reason. Damaris has some kind of connection to Creed for whatever reason. So that is obviously a potential for next episode. So I'm basically just trying to say that I'm going to step away from the hex map, which I'm sure some of you prefer, but for me, as this channel is more about how I play these games, kind of selfish to say that, but to an extent, it's just fun. I will do I'll try at least the next episode to see how it goes with the story arc and using a battle map. Some kind of either printed or I assemble it myself. Or another idea I have is to put a monitor flat on the table here, connected to my computer. I have a USB-C monitor. It's about this big. It's a 19-inch, and use it as the battle map. So I don't have to print anything. I don't have to digitally. I can digitally use whatever map I find, and just use the token on top of the screen and moving him on the tiles. That way, if I need a new map, if my character reaches a new room, I will pause the video, find a new map, and boom, there he is. It's been updated. I don't have to change the set around on here. It's a nice little mixture of digital and analog play. That's how I see it. So that's basically what I want to talk about regarding the approach of the my videos. Now, the always ongoing um, the always ongoing changes I make is usually the oracles. by far my favorite Oracle. It will always be the D100. I really enjoy the simplicity of it. I pitch a price, sorry, I pitch a number, a percentage, and try to roll at it or below for it to be a yes. So that way it allows me to just think of the outcome on the spot. I have these other dice here. I have a bunch of other Oracle dice, but I've grown to like these three specifically. And I've talked about this before. This is the what happens encounter die. These are the difficult encounter, a special, uh, difficulty easy, no encounter at all. This one is, I think, the loot size, large loot, small loot, medium loot, nothing. And then this is the reaction to an encounter. These have basically afraid, intimidated, unaware, surprise attack, stuff like that. It's just the three dice. So I bought this little tray that has like these little shelves that obviously come out to these four little containers, and they are magnetized, so they stick to each other. And so red dice, the Oracle dice, blue dice, and I usually use these dice for the characters, for the environment, the NPCs. These darker die are used for opponents, and then these silver die are used for the innocents, bystanders. Now, this die I will try to use for the main boss, a person of interest, a POI. So that I don't think I've used this one before. I might have used it a couple times, but I don't recall. So that's it in terms of the Oracle. I'm going to try to use these if I need something on the go, and I still like using. I love one page Mythic. It's fantastic. For some reason, the Mythic GM emulator, it just confuses me at times. I understand the chaos factor to an extent, and I like using it, but I feel it's just a little too complicated for me. So I really like using this one page literal mythic. The table, which is similar to my D100, but it's more formalic. It has this set chart or this set arrangement. Then you have all these descriptions and actions. I love this list. It's a great list. So I have this one on speed dial to my side, and then in other oracles I've used, there's obviously tables and maze rats. There is the cards that I like to use, and these are my go-tos for very quick names or situations. The GM Apprentice, which is a very interesting buy, and then these Pathfinder NPCs that I don't use enough, but I had them here just in case. So I did have tarot cards, but I kind of come and go with them. They do help at very strange, unique times, but for the most part, tarot cards are kind of hit and miss for me. So they can be often too much. But then for the very awkward or unique moments, they can be a lifesaver. I'm sure it's different for everybody, but that's just how it is for me. So that's really all I wanted to talk about in this video was just about the approach. It's a workshop video. I'll call it workshop, but nothing really special about it. But this is just a kind of a little sort of brainstorming for myself regarding, getting this through with you guys and seeing what you would think about this approach, this kind of episodic um, outline for my next video where I just put Basil through an adventure, a quest in each episode. It's not this consistent flow with on a hex map where we are just me talking about it, but actually showing you what's going on a map for Basil and going through the adventure. So because then I have seen positive reception in my earlier videos where I have the whole battle map and characters set around the place, and people seem to like those. So I thought I bring them back more often. But in any event, that's really it for the video. Hope you guys are having a good weekend, and I'll see you in the next one.